Lincoln Riley was not lying when he said there were some surprises left in store that got unwrapped following his press conference on early signing period day one. We got to talk about it after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You got to help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kin folks? RJ Young. I'm not on step milk. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today got to talk about the surprises that were unwrapped later Wednesday evening on the first day of the early signing period. Began December 18th, finishes December 20th, for which more than 50% of all of the kiddos who have offers and committed will sign their national letters of intent. And at Oklahoma, you finish with a top 10 class to start early signing period and without a quarterback. By the way, I'm so giddy because I got some news about some more stuff that's going to go down. And this is without the signing of Reggie Grimes, which I still think is going to happen. I don't think it's a Jason McClellan situation, but man, check it. Look, Kendall Dennis out of Lakeland. Now, all right, I got to talk about Lakeland for a second because I remember Lakeland when they was playing Rutherford when I was in elementary school, and they was monsters. They were monsters. Ray Lewis knew they were monsters. And we got a monster, and Kendall Dennis, who's committed and signed, played at Oklahoma. Dude was outstanding coming out. It was a really good get coming out of the Sunshine State. The Sunshine State is the most talented state for football in the entire country. Fight me. And that was outstanding. But even more than that, watching him say, I'm going to Oklahoma on ESPNU was a big deal. The energy that most people got from that will sustain civilization for like several millennia. I'm joking there. But it was a really good pickup for Oklahoma. And then later on that evening, Justin Harrington makes it official, what many of us believe was going to happen. The number 6 overall recruit in the junior college rankings and the best safety defensive back recruit in the country in the junior college ranking coming out of Bakersfield College. I have a buddy who hails from Bakersfield. He's like, hey man, they actually turn people out for football games, and that's a really difficult thing to do for junior college, and he is the best player on that team. He is all of 6'3", so he can play safety or nickel, and I know a lot of people want to see some cover at nickel for Buki, even want to see Buki usurped by another DB, but there's going to be more than that, because also with Bryson Washington, who I think is the sneaky good get out of this entire class. He's going to be really, really good, and then you add in there DJ Graham, who's probably going to play more cornerback than wide receiver. You also add Josh Eaton. You get a Texas commit, a dude that was committed, reopened his commitment, got the visit from the Sooners. I mean, we're talking about a photo that he got with Lincoln Riley, Alex Grinch, and Roy Manning. Full court press to get this dude, 4-star blue chip player. And his story with Oklahoma is fascinating because earlier in the summer made waves when he told rivals, yeah, Grinch told me that he doesn't have any NFL talent at defensive back, and that was, him being real with me, to which that quote was blown up. It was also attributed to Bryson Washington by somebody that wasn't actually doing their job. And then you got, you got to know how they feel about it, because they were asked about this at camp, and the kiddos were like, I don't believe he really said that. I think, it's blown out of proportion. And then Josh Eaton decided to commit to Texas to kind of add insult to injury. I thought that it was dead in the water there for a while, and all reports were it was. And this whole week of recruiting that a lot of other guys got that Oklahoma and others playing in conference championship games did not, also made waves because you could see Lincoln Riley was visibly frustrated with it, and he had tried to get this thing changed, and he wants it changed because he believes it's hurting the sport. It's really hurting the top of college football is what it's doing, because only the top in college football are playing in conference championship games. And why would you penalize them for being the best at what they do? I don't think it's fair. Most people don't think it's fair. I think it's going to get fixed. But with the 2 bye weeks and how that's worked out with needing a conference championship game, and you can make an argument that if the Big 12 does not have a conference championship game, Oklahoma does not get in it, not just this year, but the last 2 times that they got into the playoff. Yeah, I would like to see this changed as well. I don't think it's a thing that I would say I depend on to close out my class, but you could obviously make an argument that you lost Jason McClellan because you weren't able to see him enough. You can make an argument that you might have lost out on some other kiddos because you weren't able to see them enough, strictly because your calendar did not prevented it. But Alex Grinch also spoke to it and said, look, it basically means that we have to make it work on those weeks that we can. And the biggest tool in our toolbox is that we were playing for a Big 12 championship, and winning the Big 12 championship ought to do a whole lot for kiddos that want to consider Oklahoma. I go back to what Nick Saban had said about actually preparing to play for the BCS championship game back in 2012, 2013 in a profile where in a JUCO profile, Warren St. John wrote about him. I thought it was really cool that one of his golfing buddies told the story of, I'm going to call Nick Saban because he just won the BCS Bowl championship, national championship over LSU. It's a really big deal for him. It's a really big deal for that dude, Steve Rumsey, who was an Alabama alum. So he calls up Nick Saban and he says, hey, man, congratulations on winning a national championship, to which Nick Saban said, that game cost me a week of recruiting. And it's that serious. So much so that Rumsey went on to say, hey, look, you just played the national championship game and you won it. Is that not going to do wonders for all the kiddos that were watching? He's like, maybe that helps. I don't know. But Nick Saban understands being in somebody's living room, spending quality time with recruits is how you win, right? That's how you get that kiddo to come to you. Think about this. Jason McClellan was the crown jewel of Oklahoma's 2020 class, the best player in that 2020 class. And if he'd been in this class, he'd probably end up with a number 6 ranking nationally instead of number 8 because he was that big a deal. And they're playing a Citrus Bowl at Alabama. Okay? They got 2 losses. They're not playing a playoff. Oklahoma's playing a playoff. They're 12-1. They're about to go up against LSU. And they got, a chance. Even so, you're going, all the publicity should be going to Oklahoma. All the good waves and good vibrations should be going to Oklahoma. And what did Nick Saban do but go into Jason McClellan's house and flip him to Tuscaloosa after a 2-year commitment to Oklahoma? It's that important. And when you hear Lincoln Riley, understand that that's the level of his frustration, because Lincoln believes he can close. I mean, if nothing else, look back to last year where he brought in guys like LaRon Stokes and Jeremiah Cradell and Marcus Stripling and Ty DeArmond without a defensive coordinator and getting them to trust him to pick the right guy. And we all know he did that now because Oklahoma has a top 25 defense and they're putting together a secondary that's going to be legit. And to talk about the secondary just a little bit, talk about 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3". Yo, all right? All these dudes are big and long. All these dudes got speed. This is exactly what Alex Grinch wanted in his secondary. I had my suspicions about whether or not he's going to be able to pull this off because he basically ran off kiddos like Jalen Huff and, Darian Green-Warren to make room for these bigger, longer DBs. And with Harrington in particular, you got a guy that's going to be an early enrollee, and he figures to be a rotation player in the same way that I think like Jaden Davis was this year. He might be your 3rd best corner. He might be your 2nd best nickel. He's going to give you more options over there. And you're also going to get in the 2 prized defensive tackles, number 1, number 2 in the country in junior college ranks, and Josh Ellison and Perrion Winfrey also as early enrollees. It's going to do wonders for your defense. And all of a sudden, it's not just that the defense could be good, it could be great. Because remember, many folks would have been happy with a top 70, top 50 defense, right? That was pushing it top 50, top 25 in the first year with the same personnel that Mike Stoops had with 101st. Yo, and all of a sudden you got the dudes that you want to fill out the system that you got. It might be winning time in Oklahoma. All right, that's it for me. Doses.